she said. Dating down really puts life in perspective. Now I know what I don't want. Everyone chuckled as she made this announcement at her best friend's birthday. Leaving $50 on the table, I got up silently and drove home. She apologized by text throughout the night. I blocked numbers for the duration. Hello viewers, a big thank you to all of you who have already signed up. Please click the subscribe button if you haven't already. I am 34 years old and employed as an electrician. Well done, consistent work. Possess my home. Trucks paid off. Not too fancy. However, I feel at ease. I've been dating a 30-year-old woman named Vanessa for roughly 10 months. She works downtown in finance, generates a good income. Though I believe we balance each other out, they are undoubtedly more polished than I am. As one might anticipate, Vanessa has a typical set of friends. The whole scene: young professionals, hip eateries, wine tastings on the weekends. I think I've spent about 6 times with them. Even if they are courteous to me, there's always a sense that I don't quite mesh with them. Lauren, her best friend, turned 29 last Saturday. A large meal at a fancy steakhouse in the heart of the city. Perhaps a total of 12 persons. I found it wonderful that Lauren expressly asked me to come. It ought to have raised suspicions. The problem is that I've previously seen few remarks from this group. Someone joked that I was the stereotypical blue-collar guy in a wine bar 3 months ago. Lauren asked me at a dinner party 2 months ago if I had ever thought about moving beyond manual labor in my job. Vanessa's coworker said last month that she was discovering new kinds of individuals, which was refreshing. I decided they simply didn't know many craftsmen, so I disregarded everything. Vanessa would constantly shift the topic and appear embarrassed by their remarks. We arrive at the eatery at approximately 7 p.m. Nice location. The wine list is thicker than a phone book, and there are cloth napkins. I'm dressed in jeans and my nice shirt. Everybody else is in business, whether it's informal or more formal. The typical dynamic, but I'm already accustomed to it. Dinner gets off to a good start. Good dinner, casual discussion about plans for the weekend, and work. I primarily listen and offer assistance when someone explicitly asks me a question. Vanessa continues to include me in chats and appears at ease. Approximately 9 p.m. Lauren gets up with her wine glass as we finish dessert. The birthday speech is about to begin. I would like to express my gratitude to everyone for coming tonight. You two are the best friends a girl could wish for. And this year has been incredible. Typical birthday fare. People are lifting their glasses and grinning. This year, I've discovered a lot about myself, particularly in regard to relationships and my life goals. She's gazing at everyone at the table and maintaining eye contact. This year, Vanessa, you've taught me something really valuable. Observing you has been incredibly instructive. Vanessa appears happy but perplexed. What are you saying? Your entire dating down experiment, that is. It's been amazing to observe from a distance. The table becomes completely silent. My stomach sinks, but I maintain a neutral demeanor. Dating someone who is so different from your typical type, that is, someone who doesn't fit your lifestyle or degree of education. Doesn't it truly help put things in perspective? Vanessa's cheeks are flushed. No, I'm not kidding, Lauren. In fact, it's great. You are now fully aware of the qualities you are looking for in a spouse. For the rest of us, the entire experience has served as a warning. It appears that half of the table is uncomfortable. The other person is nodding in agreement. In fact, a man by the name of Brad grins. It's harsh, but most likely accurate. Lauren lifts her glass higher as another woman adds, "It does make you appreciate compatibility more." I'm sitting there processing that I've apparently been a 10-month social experiment while her friends discuss me like I'm not here. Let's embrace learning opportunities and self-awareness. We appreciate you demonstrating what settlement looks like. Very instructive material. Now, everyone is focusing on Vanessa rather than me. Vanessa appears embarrassed, but she is just sitting there, speechless, as her buddies celebrate my embarrassment without offering any defense. Calmly, I take out 2 20s and a 10 from my wallet and set them on the table beside my dish. The entry costs about $35. This includes a tip for my meal. I go up and say, "Happy birthday, Lauren. I appreciate the instruction." Without haste, I leave the restaurant. Avoid creating a commotion. Avoid slamming doors. Just go with what dignity I still have. Go to my truck and have a seat for a while. 10 months of my life. I claim to be someone's sleeping experiment for 10 months while believing I was in a committed relationship. It is astounding how casually nasty it is to declare it as entertainment. Even before I arrive home, my phone begins to buzz. Vanessa is phoning. I say no. Text. Don't go out like this, Mike. One more call. Reject. Text. Lauren was intoxicated. It wasn't her intention. One more call. I switch off my phone, head home, have a beer, and reflect on the past 10 months. I ignored all those remarks. During those moments, I felt more like a curiosity than a romantic partner. All the times I questioned whether the disdain was real or just in my head. At about 11 p.m., I turned my phone back on. Vanessa missed 19 calls, 26 text messages. I'm really sorry, Mike. Lauren is a fool. Don't take this literally, please. She's unmarried, which makes her envious. She was completely out of line, according to everyone. Give me a call back, please. We must speak. I'm on my way to your residence. Why don't you respond? This is absurd. You are aware of my concern for you. Don't waste what we have on pointless things. Lauren stated. I begin blocking phone numbers. Her own phone first. I also block her when she tries to call from what is most likely a friend's phone. I hear a car outside at midnight. Vanessa's BMW is parked on the street. You can see it by looking through the blinds. She approaches my door and begins to knock. I know you're in there, Mike. Just talk to me, please. I don't respond. After knocking for 10 minutes or so, she returns to her car, but stays there. Simply observes my house while sitting there. At 12:30 a.m., she eventually gets in her car and leaves. There are flowers and a letter on my doorstep this morning. I apologize. We have the actual thing. Don't let Lauren spoil this. Please, toss the card and the flowers in the garbage. The thing is this, Lauren might have been intoxicated. Perhaps she was resentful of her lack of a partner. However, dating down isn't something you just make up. Where did that phrase originate? They had already utilized that terminology, and I learned everything from Vanessa's response. She was embarrassed that her companions had spoken the quiet bit aloud, but she didn't immediately defend me or shut Lauren down. For 10 months, I have been a social science project for someone, a person's method of determining her true desires. She learned to value her own standards from the charity case. I don't want to be someone's educational experience as they discover what they like. She received her education. She can now find someone who meets her needs right away. One update, 48 hours later. Well, these past several days have been intriguing. I appreciate all of your support and remarks. It's good to know that the majority of people believe that being publicly referred to as a dating experiment calls for an instant end. Vanessa, therefore, intensified her damage control campaign yesterday. Around lunchtime, she arrived at my job site. I'm doing electrical work on a brand new downtown office complex. When my boss, Frank, arrived, we were on break. A woman outside is calling for you, Mike. She claims that it is urgent. Vanessa is standing in the sidewalk in her work clothes as I turn to face the street. She's obviously waiting for me, but she's wise enough to avoid the construction area. I'm busy, tell her. I'll wait until your break is over, she offers. She will then have to wait for a long time. However, it isn't professional to let my crew see my personal issues. I approach the fence that divides the sidewalk from the location. You can't be here, Vanessa. Please, Mike. 5 minutes. Nothing needs to be discussed. Indeed, there is. When did I tell Lauren that what she had said was totally incorrect? Since you remained silent during the restaurant, I was stunned. I was shocked to hear her say something so awful. Awful yet true. That seems to be untrue. You are aware of my feelings for you, Mike. I am aware of your friend's feelings toward me and that you failed to correct them. My staff is attempting to avoid staring. However, this is becoming awkward. Just have coffee with me after work so we can have a thorough conversation. No. Then this weekend or tomorrow for dinner. Anything. I no longer want to be your social experiment, Vanessa. Lauren felt really secure with the dating down thing, so that's not exactly what this was. Lauren is unable to comprehend our relationship. She was sufficiently knowledgeable about it to make a toast. Vanessa notices that others are observing her as she looks around. Mike, I'm not going to give up on us. We don't exist. All you have to do is figure out what you don't want. She soon departs as I make my way back to the job site on foot. That night, a fresh strategy was introduced. Kim, Vanessa's sister, called me. We had met at family get-togethers a few times. Always appeared to make sense. I heard what transpired at Lauren's birthday, Mike. Word gets around quickly. What Lauren said was relayed to me by Vanessa. That was totally inappropriate, and I wanted you to know that. Thank you, Kim. She had been crying for the past 2 days. She's never looked so upset to me. I'm sorry she's angry, but I can't help her with this. I know my sister, Mike. She truly is concerned about you. She sat there in silence as your sister's friend called me a dating experiment. She was most likely shocked. It's likely that she felt ashamed because someone had expressed her thoughts. A long silence. Do you honestly believe she views you that way? Kim, your sister has a graduate degree and earns a solid living. I have a high school diploma and work by hand. While I sip beer from the bottle, her buddies discuss wine regions. It was written on the wall. If you love someone, that stuff is irrelevant. For Lauren, it was important. It also seems to matter to the rest of her pals, based on the responses at that table. That's it, then. You won't even give her an opportunity to clarify? When Lauren was speaking on Saturday night, she had the opportunity to clarify. It was time for her to stop it. She decided to keep quiet. For a few more minutes, Kim tried to persuade me, but I wasn't convinced. Vanessa made her most desperate move today. Approximately 2 p.m. I got my mother's call. I just received the most bizarre call, Mike. Who's? Vanessa claims to be your girlfriend, and you two got into a quarrel. What did the ex-girlfriend want? She asked if I could discuss giving her another shot with you. Said that there was a miscommunication. You told her what? I informed her that she had no right to call me and that I don't get involved in your relationships. Excellent. Even so, how did she obtain your number? You mentioned last month that I brought cookies to your workplace. She continued. She therefore made several calls to electrical businesses before locating someone who was acquainted with your supervisor, Frank. Frank assumed it was an emergency and gave her my phone. That's quite resolute. That's quite desperate. What happened, Mike? I described the entire circumstance. Without interjecting, Mom listens. So you were referred to as a learning experience by this girl's friend? Basically. And you weren't defended by your girlfriend? Not at all. Then, honey, you made the proper decision. Instead of someone who uses you to determine what they want, you need someone who is proud to be with you. Regards, Mom. However, I must admit that her calling me indicates that she is in a serious panic. It must be a realization for that girl. I received an SMS from Vanessa's phone this evening. This is Lauren on V's phone, Mike. I really apologize to you. I almost remove it, but I wonder what justification she has. I apologize for what I said on Saturday. It was totally incorrect. I was intoxicated and venting my relationship annoyances on you. It isn't acceptable because of it. I am aware. Vanessa told me how serious you two are when we spoke yesterday. She has been preparing to present her parents to you during Christmas, a humorous technique to demonstrate if that is true. I was mistaken about everything, Mike. Vanessa is always talking about you. She's obsessed with you. So why didn't she stand up for me? Since she was taken aback. All of us were. No one thought I would say something so hurtful. However, you did say it. Yes, I did. And ever since, I've regretted it. I consider this for a long time before answering. Lauren, dating down isn't something you make up on the fly. Even if you were intoxicated and irritated. That's a term you've heard. You're correct. It was used by my ex-boyfriend in reference to his past relationship. I was extrapolating my circumstances onto yours. Therefore, this had nothing to do with her true feelings. Vanessa has never made any disparaging remarks about you, Mike. So why do her pals make me feel like a zoo animal? Because we're snobs and aren't accustomed to real people. However, that is our issue, not yours. It was a lengthy chat, but it made me think. Perhaps I misinterpreted the circumstances. Perhaps Lauren was simply being resentful and inebriated. Then I recall the expression on Vanessa's face at the eatery, the quiet when she ought to have raised her voice. I'm still unsure of my beliefs. The last update. After a week, it's time to end this chapter. I've had time to reflect on everything that transpired since Lauren's birthday speech, which was a week ago. I thought about whether I had overreacted for a few days after Lauren texted me to apologize. Perhaps she was simply inebriated and resentful. Perhaps Vanessa was indeed going to show me her folks. Perhaps I made assumptions too quickly. Then, I began to recall more details. Vanessa said she wanted to go to Napa Valley for a weekend 2 weeks ago. She gave me this look and said, well, I could probably cover it if you can't afford your share. At the time, I felt she was being kind when I mentioned that the wine tour seemed pricey. I now see that she had already made plans to get around my financial constraints. Her supervisor made a patronizing remark about blue-collar workers at the office Christmas party last month. Vanessa shifted the topic as if she were embarrassed, but she didn't defend me. She said 3 weeks ago that in order to increase my chances, I might want to look into some continuing education choices. She said, of course, but don't you want to grow? When I mentioned that I enjoyed my job, the incidents weren't isolated. I wanted the relationship to work. Therefore, I had been ignoring the pattern they were a part of. I made up my mind on Wednesday. From work, I gave Vanessa a call. Oh my God, Mike, thank you so much for calling. I've considered all of this, Vanessa, and this is my final response. We're finished. Please don't say that, Mike. I cherish you. You don't love me enough to stand up for me when it counts, even though you adore the thought of dating someone else. It's unfair. I was stunned. Being with someone who views me as an equal rather than a project is fair. You are on par with me. You didn't dispute with your friend's assessment of dating down. That reveals to me your true perspective on this. If necessary, I will cut Lauren out of my life. Lauren is not the issue. It has to do with your agreement with her assessment. I never agreed with anything. It was sufficient that you remained silent. She persisted in arguing, but I was done. She made one final attempt on Thursday, arrived at my residence at approximately 7 p.m. with a speech that appeared to have been prepared. I didn't invite her inside, but I did answer the door. This has been on my mind all week, Mike. I should have protected you right away. You're right. I should not have remained silent. All right, I want to correct this. I've already informed my pals that I won't be around people who treat you disrespectfully. Well done. I want to show that this connection and you are important to me. How? This weekend, I'll introduce you to my folks however you like. Together, we can move in. Whatever demonstrates my seriousness. I tried to determine whether this woman I had been dating for 10 months was sincere or simply experiencing terror. Can I ask you an honest question, Vanessa? Anything. Did you ever consider our relationship to be dating down to Lauren's speech? She paused for a brief moment, but I saw it. No, that never occurred to me. Mike, not even in the beginning. That's not a yes/no question. Have you ever felt that the person you were dating was beneath you? One more pause. Because we are so different, I may have initially questioned if we could be together in the long run, but that has now changed. When did it change? Months in the past. I fell in love with you, Mike. However, at first you did believe you were dating down. I believed that we were from different planets. The two are not the same. It's the exact same thing. You hoped things would work out even though you thought I was beneath you. It wasn't like that. It was just like that. Lauren just expressed your thoughts aloud. Find someone who shares your history right away, Mike. Someone who keeps you from questioning whether you're settling. I shut the door. That was the end of the matter. For days have passed since then. No more unexpected visits, texts, or phone calls. Either she has already moved on to someone better, or she has finally come to terms with reality. I went to lunch yesterday with my plumbing buddy Tom and told him the entire tale. I could have predicted this from a mile away, man. Mike, what do you mean? You were never treated as equals by that girl. She regarded you as intriguing, but not as a member of the group. Did you observe that? All of us did. Although she was pleasant enough, she constantly gave off the impression that she was volunteering. What I knew deep within was validated by that. I'm doing all okay. Actually, more than fine. I will no longer doubt myself in front of her friends. I'm done feeling like I have to earn her time. I will no longer date someone who treated me like a test subject. The retaliation was simple. It was simply leaving with my dignity unharmed and refusing to be someone's teaching moment. The finest thing that could have happened was Lauren's remarks. It made it clear to me how Vanessa and her friends truly perceived me, and it allowed me to terminate things before further time was wasted. Vanessa received education on what she doesn't want. It turns out that she is not looking for someone who is self-respecting enough to leave when they are being treated disrespectfully. I'll look for someone who views dating me as a step up the next time, not